Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug Live. It is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026, and I'm your host, Chris Patrick. Tonight, Alek Thomas is fucking out. Ryan Waldschmidt is fucking in. Yeah, we're getting started early. Your Arizona Cardinals hold rookie minicamp last week for a little 3-day ditty, and the Villain Trolls in Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, I'm not 100% sure where they were. They were in LA. That's right. I think he looked like a little bit of a cornball. We'll get into all that and so much more. We're going to break down everything that's happening here in the Valley. We're excited to be back. We just wrapped up our 999 challenge over the weekend. As you can see in my handle here, I failed the challenge. These two gentlemen succeeded and passed the challenge for the second straight season. So I feel like I got some more preparation to do going into next year. But as you know, these are my co-hosts, Mr. Benjamin and VSP Tallman. What's going on, fellas?
Gentlemen. Chris, you said it. You're looking at some champions right in front of you. I will say, I don't know how many more times we can do that because I feel like, or at least I need a full 9 innings so I can surpass my goal. But it just seems like every single time the game happens, there's only half an inning in the ninth that doesn't happen. But Tallman, fellow champion, how are you today, man?
Oh yes, thank you, Michael. Doing good, guys. That was torture. I feel like because I was gone for so long, you're like, let's make this asshole do the 999 challenge right when he gets back from vacation. I will admit it was a lot harder this year than it was last year. But I'm with you. I don't know how many more times I'm going to sign up for that.
It was a lot harder because you're eating pizza less than 2 hours before. That's why.
You
sure
got to eat,
understand the truth.
Well, because you can't. Okay, you can eat pizza for breakfast, right? So I didn't have breakfast, and then I was like cleaning my house and shit, and then it was already like an hour before I was gonna leave, and I was like, I need to eat something. So the pizza was there, and then the pizza went in my mouth and in my stomach. It had to be done. So it was a requirement.
I feel like there is definitely some strategy there because I think the year prior the game was like a 1 o'clock start, 1:30 start, somewhere around there, and this year it was around 4:15, so a little later in the day. And I went with the strategy of not eating throughout the day, and then I had a little pregame beer, pregame chips, and felt like I had prepared my stomach, but clearly did not. I did worse. I actually somehow did worse this year than last year. And I know you guys are saying you don't know how many more times you can do that. Just once a year. That's all we got to do it. Just once a year.
I will also say, though, I'm pretty sure the game was like a half an hour shorter than it was last year.
I believe it.
So when you're up against the time limit, too, I mean, some of those innings from Merrill were really short. So I'll take the shorter innings because he needed an outing like that. And I know we're going to get into it. But once again, Tallman, we are the champions. Cue the Queen music, baby.
Yeah, come on, Chris. You got the music?
Oh yeah, just one. Oh,
okay, all right. Hey, at least
copyright.
At least the Diamondbacks won the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
through torture.
Great for the Diamondbacks, not so great for me and for you guys who actually finished the challenge. I do not know how you did that. It made me feel a little better that VSP. I'm sorry, I get you guys mixed up. The other Tallman, Mr. T Jr., also was not able to complete the challenge. As I think he was like right after me in losing the challenge. But yeah, if I had just a little more time, I think I could have at least made it as far as I did last year, but something in my preparation was off. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and do better next year. But we got a full 12 months so you guys can recover, get your diets right, get your bowels straight, and on from there. But nobody wants to sit here and hear us talk about what happened in the past. We got to talk about what's happening in the present and moving forward into the future. Before we get into all that, I want to thank you all for joining us here live on our YouTube channel, Valley Sports Plug on YouTube. We go live every Tuesday around 7 o'clock p.m. and we live stream all sorts of content for you, all Valley Sports related. You can follow us at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, and so much more. All of those links are going to be in the description below. And the podcast is always available on audio only next day on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and really anywhere that you find podcasts, you can find us. We'll have that up there for you. But thank you all for joining in. Make sure you like and subscribe right here on YouTube. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, boys. Yes, the breaking news came out. I think it was on Friday. Alek Thomas designated for assignment by your Arizona Diamondbacks. Left a little bit in doubt. We didn't know what was going to happen. As we were recording on Saturday, we were talking about one thing's for sure. He's definitely going to get picked up. He's going to get signed. And maybe better for the Diamondbacks, he actually got traded. Interesting, though, interdivision, right? Going to our arch nemesis, the Los Angeles Dodgers, for a real young prospect. Shoot, Mike, do you happen to have the name of this young prospect that will likely never see the field?
No, but I know VSP Tallman does.
God damn, guys, that's a lot of pressure. Jose Requena. Requena.
Requena? I don't know.
Isn't he
Like
like
I said,
17 years old, though, you said?
Yeah, so he's a 17-year-old prospect. Was part of the Dodgers' recent international signing class and has yet to make his professional debut. So, he's brand new to their farm system for the Dodgers, but 17 years old.
Yeah, so basically, like that's the Diamondbacks signaling that they've completely abandoned Alek Thomas and they've given up on him. And so, sure, let's kick the tires on this young kid, literally kid, 17 years old, can't even legally buy cigarettes or vape or anything in the United States. But Tallman, what does this move signal to you about the future of the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I mean, I like it. It's the sense of urgency that, you know, we've always been looking for. It's like you can't keep running these people out there every single game if they're not producing. And you could say it's so true with Alek Thomas. How many chances did he get? I mean, I feel like he's been on, I don't know how many seasons he was with the team, but it was a long time. So we already saw them cut ties with Jake McCarthy, and we were like, oh, they made that choice. Oh no, they're going with Alek Thomas. And this honestly shocked me. I didn't think 40 games in that they'd, you know, make this type of move, but I'm okay with it because this season's kind of been like it's been the no name and it's been the young guys that are really just putting the juice into this team. We're still waiting for the big three to figure it out. That's Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, and Geraldo Perdomo. But it's guys like Ildemaro Vargas. It's Jose Fernandez, even though he's cooled off, but he came up with the storm. What we're seeing recently with Ryan Waldschmidt, I mean, those two young guys, Jose and Ryan, I mean, they had killer spring trainings. And honestly, at first, I was shocked that Waldschmidt wasn't the first one to come up. They brought up Jose. Obviously, it's position-wise. You lose Carlos Santana. You lose Pavin Smith. You could fit Jose in there as a versatile infielder. But it's great to see them bringing up these young guys who are, you know, making a name for themselves at the lower level and really just, you know, forcing their hand to make this team give these guys a chance in the major leagues. And, I mean, I think Alek Thomas, I'm okay with it. It is sad. I mean, he's a hell of a defender, but just what he was doing at the plate, I mean, you got to produce somewhat offensively to be able to hang around with the team. I mean, so I like the move because that, like I said, that sense of urgency, they're trying to put out the best 9 players every single day to win as many baseball games as they can. And this is the right move. This absolutely is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, when you're doing as bad as he was to start a season and coming off of last season where he also wasn't doing so good, you just gotta call a spade and cut ties with him. And that's why I have no problem with it, especially when you consider the talent that's in our farm system as it exists right now. We saw obviously Ryan Waldschmidt get the call, and he's even made some outstanding plays in the outfield as well as making some contact early on. Now I know, he'll come down to earth eventually, such as what's his face, Jose Fernandez kind of did. But you look at the other outfielders we have in our system right now that are right behind him. Tommy Troy, number 4 ranked prospect. Slade Caldwell, number 3 ranked prospect. Now Slade is still in high A and Tommy's in triple A. So there's a chance we could see him, but there's always been depth at outfield. So I think what Alek Thomas brought defensively, he didn't make up for enough offensively to kind of counteract that. But Mike, obviously got to get your opinion on this. Are you okay with the D-backs cutting ties with Thomas?
No, guys. No, I'm not okay with it. No, of course not. What Tallman said is exactly what it is. We've been biding our time as Diamondbacks fans, and I'm sure as this organization has been moving forward, to see if Alek Thomas could come out of his kind of grandiose appearance onto the national stage during the 2023 NLCS. I mean, he had a solid postseason that year, but he never truly capitalized. If you look at what he did career-wise, the next year he was up and down through AAA, right? Because they were still just kind of juggling both him and McCarthy. But last year, when he finally got the most games in his career, 143, he did hit the best that he ever has at 249, but just 122 strikeouts. The kid couldn't get the ball off the ground, it seemed like, and it was always to the right side. So when you become such a predictability for a lineup, it's hard to just keep pushing you out day after day. And I had said, well, it's the 60 game mark is what we're looking at, but I'm proud of this team. How they've maneuvered their moves so far this year is showing that they really want to contend and want to push for a playoff spot this year. So if you're not producing, you're not going to cut it. We're moving in different directions. So it's a breath of fresh air from what we've seen. We know Torrey's a player's guy. He has, the backs of all of those guys. And I'm sure he had a soft spot for a young kid like Alek, who was only 26 years old. But, this is his 5th year in the majors. And he's just cemented as like an 8 or 9 hole hitter. And we can find those kind of guys. A dime a dozen, especially in the outfield. You always have decent prospects coming up as outfielders. So it was time to give somebody else a chance. Do I love him going to the Dodgers? No, you always hate to see guys go to your division rivals, especially, I would say, for somebody who is going to have, at the end of it all, gentlemen, one of the best plays in Arizona Diamondbacks history. To see him go to wear the white and blue, it's almost, it's not on the same level as like Gonzo or anything like that. And I think Gonzo was before, but anyways, you're always going to feel some type of way a little bit about that, but it was time to go. It was time to move on. I can't even wish him best of luck because he's going to the Dodgers. If he ends up going somewhere else after then we'll wish him best of luck. But until then, I hope he doesn't get unlocked.
So you're saying wishing him the worst of luck?
Not the worst, but not good luck.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. He could very well, be DFA'd again this season, sadly enough. I think the interesting part was you guys were telling me he still had a minor league option with the Diamondbacks, and instead of choosing to exercise that, they just cut ties with him altogether. So I think that says enough. Hard to say what Los Angeles plans are for him. I don't think they even know. When Dave Roberts was asked about it, he said, really good defender, really good kid, like the way he plays. We've seen him a lot, obviously, from the other side. Not sure what our plans are for him. So it's yeah, the GM got us this guy. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with him. So I don't know. Maybe they go and put him in AAA for a little bit, see if they can fix his swing, take a gamble on it. Clearly, they didn't have to give up much to get him, just a 17-year-old prospect that likely would have never seen the field for the Dodgers. Definitely, might not even see the field, likely won't even see the field for the Diamondbacks. But, you roll the dice, you see what you can do. And if the Diamondbacks are done with them, I don't blame the Dodgers for putting their name in the hat to be able to get him without having to compete with anyone else on the free agent wire. But Tallman, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you the chance to speak on his new team here. How do you feel about him going to the division rival in the Dodgers?
I don't care at all. He could have gone anywhere. Just because it's the Dodgers, it's not like he's going to come in and have an immediate impact. he's not going to be on that roster. He's definitely going to get sent down. And like I was joking to you guys before we started tonight, it's like I'd be okay if he was in the lineup against the D-backs when we played the Dodgers. I mean, we know firsthand what his struggles are. And then I also joked that, I'd leave it up to the Dodgers to, figure out his issues. And now he is a perennial all-star, like what the Mexico team manager said about him before the season. But no, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and to think about it too, because you DFA'd him, you got a week to trade him. And I mean, you're able. So I think the reporting was the Dodgers were the only team that were offering a prospect in return. So with that, it's a no-brainer. Like, and then obviously front office knows exactly what type of player up and down Alek Thomas is. Send him over. We're not trading Ketel Marte to the Dodgers. That would be an issue, right? This is a dude that's probably going to have very minimal impact. He'll probably be on the team in September, but I don't see him coming in and just absolutely just making this look like a FU move for the D-backs front office. But at least you got something out of him, right? Because everyone else was giving you cash considerations, and I'm looking at it. I guess there's a cap on it where you could only get up to $100,000. So would you rather have $100,000 check or a prospect that, who knows, you're rolling the dice on the dude, maybe he turns out to be, the next stud or whatever, who knows, right? Obviously you already said it, Chris, probably not going to happen, but at least you got a body in return, rather than just, or just letting him go through waivers, because there's no way he was going to clear waivers. Because I know the front office was saying they didn't just want to send him down to AAA because they wanted to make him feel uncomfortable, because this has been an every year occurrence for him where he has yet to take that next step as a major league player. So they went the DFA route to make him motivated to figure out what's going on. But I didn't think he was going to clear waivers, and obviously they didn't either, which is why they completed this trade. So Dodgers or no Dodgers, I don't think they're a better baseball team with Alek Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he moves the needle at all either. Looking at their depth chart here, it doesn't make sense to me that he'll see much playing time, if any, if he even is going to be on the 40-man roster. But they are dealing with some injuries to some of their outfielders. Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman are both on the 60-day IL right now. So maybe they need a guy to come in and give Andy Pajes a day off, or Teoscar Hernandez. I don't know. But you also consider they just gave Kyle Tucker a bag. So their outfield is pretty locked down right now. But I don't think it's impossible that he sees the field. But I think they'll, like we've said, and the last time I'll say it, they'll roll the dice on him. They'll bring him in. They'll work him out. They'll see what he has. And then I think that you'll either see him on the 40-man roster playing a couple days a week, or he'll get DFA'd again and sayonara, and he'll be on to someone else before the end of the season, which sucks, because as a person, I know I have no problem with Alek Thomas. I don't think we really know much about him as fans. He seems like a real personable guy. Was a pretty big part of that 2023 run, and obviously that big moment in the NLCS. But such is life. Such is the sport of baseball. People come and people go. And that's just the way it is. But
sorry, so his big, that was when he hit the home run, right?
2023 NLCS. I believe.
He hit that home run. Yeah, I was at that game.
Game 7, I want to say.
Or no.
No, that was game 4.
Game 4.
Yeah, I was.
That's what I
was
meant
at,
to say. So close.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was when we did our top 3 or whatever sports moments or whatever. I think that was one of mine. So hey, he made one of my my list there. Look at that.
Hey, you don't get them all wrong, Tallman. I'll give you that. That's a pretty good moment.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But staying on the Diamondbacks, they've had a bit of a shaky, last couple of weeks. They've lost 7 of their last 11. Kind of, if you go back further than that, it seems like they've lost more than they've won, but they're hovering right around 500. They're 20-20 right now. Could be 20-21 very soon. Looks like they're battling back against the Rangers, but only 1 out left, still down 3. Although they do have 3 runs here in the top of the 9th. be a crazy comeback, but that's what the Diamondbacks kind of do, right? But either way, 20-20, 20-21. Mike, what have you thought of this team the last couple of weeks and their kind of up and down nature so far this season?
Well, it's been a positive as we started to kind of get longer into May. And, famously, like I was saying before the stream started, it's because they're starting to play some cupcake teams, guys. Like, let's not get it twisted. But you have to take advantage when you get those opportunities, right? You win 2 of 3 against the New York Mets at home. Now, hopefully you can get the rubber match tomorrow in Texas, but you got the bottom feeders of the NL West in Colorado, San Francisco, and another. I mean, we're playing Colorado, San Francisco, a 4-game set against Colorado, and then San Francisco again, who I don't know what San Francisco is up to. They're going to be sellers at the deadline. So these are your stretches where you have to pounce. You really have to take advantage of these 13 games that are coming up here and start moving the needle within the NL wildcard race, even though we're only at the 40-game limit. Chris, you're the famous one who always says every game counts. And the ones that you have to win, you have to almost get out there and dominate to show faith that when we start waiting our time out for these injured mainstays to come back and give us the boost when we're going to have to go up against the Dodgers, eventually in September against teams, even in the AL, like the New York Yankees, better teams. I mean, the NL Central is just ridiculous. You got Cincinnati coming up in the middle of June. Those aren't going to be cupcakes. And as you start to get healthier, you need to have, withstood the limits of where your baseball team stands right now. And to start this season, it was because of struggling starting pitching. And it's been great to see what Torrey famously called everybody in and gave them the old talking to. And everybody's start since then has been miraculous. I mean, we watched Merrill throw 3 hits, 7 innings, 6 strikeouts. We haven't seen that at all from him this year as he struggled with injuries. Michael Soroka had the 1 blow-up game, but here he comes again last night, just throws an absolute gem in Texas on the road in the first game. I mean, the other thing that has been super beneficial, I would say, at least for the way that I'm seeing this team, is we're struggling from the plate, right? But if we can hone in what we can control from the pitching staff, especially from what we've seen as major struggles from this team over the past 2 seasons in the bullpen, to now having just a killer unit once again. Paul Sewald emerging, who would have guessed? Juan Murillo as your 8th inning guy. Brandon Pfaadt came in today as well, pitched 3 great innings after Zach Gallen, who would have guessed, threw another stinker and is the only guy who can't figure it out, it seems like. But, controlling the controllables from that side has been awesome to see. But, when one rises, the other one falls. And that's why you find yourself as a 500 baseball team right now. But as Tallman would say, reinforcements are on the way. But when are they coming?
And will they arrive in time? I mean, to even make a difference for this team. I mean, it's great that we got Gurriel back, but I don't think, to use the same phrase again, I don't think he's really moved the needle for this team as far as getting more wins on the board. Our run differential is absolutely atrocious, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, we had that good outing during the 999 challenge from Kelly, and it was still a squeaker. We squeaked by 2-1. And then, a little bit better showing Sunday, winning 5-1. Yesterday, a 1-0 victory. And then today, you don't get any runs on the board basically until the 9th inning, where it's just too little too late to get the offense going. I'm seeing way too many 0-3, 0-4, just dog shit batting performances from these guys. And that's what was supposed to carry us. We knew about the pitching. We knew how bad the pitching was and how much this team, like, oh man, we got some offensive pieces. Like, and that's what we kind of kidded ourselves into thinking last year, is that like, oh man, our offense might be so good that it's okay that our pitching is a little bit ugly, but we also have really good pitching with Patrick Corbin and Zach Gallen and Miro Kelly and Ryan Nelson and Eduardo Rodriguez. It's like, oh man, we're stacked pitching wise, but now our pitching sucks. It still sucks. It's not getting any better. And the bats just aren't there either. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Yeah, the run differential right now is -21. And somehow we're basically a 500 team. You look at the the Dodgers. Now, that's not really a fair comparison, but with only having 4 more wins than us, they have a plus 63 run differential. So that's my math isn't great here, but I believe that's an 84 run difference between us and the team that's only 4 games ahead of us. I mean, golly, man, Tallman, I guess I just got to throw it to you before I just rant the rest of the day, but like, holy shit, like what's the bigger issue right now? Pitching, batting, or does this whole team just suck?
Well, Chris, it's been a weird season, right? Because I mean, there's stretches like to start the season. Oh my God, we don't have a left-hander in the bullpen. Oh shit, our bullpen sucks. And then the other stretch was, oh my God, our starting pitching is awful. They have the second worst ERA of any starting 5 in the whole league. And then now it's like, where the hell are the bats, right? So it's, and this seems like something we talk about every single year, where it's like, if we can be good at every phase of the game at maybe the same time during a season, we would be unstoppable. We really would. If we could have scored 8, 9, 10 runs in all these games where we had incredible starting pitching this last week from our starters, I mean, we would look like the next best thing since fucking sliced bread. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but it's like, we're just not allowed to have that, right? So it's always got to be, oh, wow, because our pitching's been incredible recently as of late. The bullpen has surprised. Mike already mentioned Paul Sewald, where I basically scoffed at the news of him coming back. Like, what the hell are you doing? And this guy has been lights out in save situations. When he's not in a save situation, that's where his ERA got beat up the most, but he's been incredible in save situations. Juan Murillo, it's like these guys have exceeded my expectations. And starting pitching as of late, I mean, obviously we had the crazy game of Soroka where he came on through the immaculate inning. And then I was like, holy cow, did we just strike gold here? But then the next start, he imploded. And I was like, well, it was good while it lasted. But he's really been, I think, the biggest surprise for me this season of the impact that Soroka's had, because he is a legitimate starter. And as long as he stays healthy, he's staying. You can't take that guy out of that rotation. There's no doubt about it. I think we can all come to agreement on, if today Corbin Burns was coming back, who'd be the one getting kicked out? That'd be probably Zach Gallen. But Soroka's been incredible. Erod, unbelievable. Everyone was like, WBC, as long as he can take this performance that he had in the World Baseball Classic into the regular season, we're going to be set. And there's another thing I laughed at. There's no way in hell. He has been incredible, lights out. So to sit there right now, what is it, May 12th? And our issue is we can't score runs. I mean, we got Ketel Marte, the best second baseman in the league. Debatable, I would say, as of right now, but a lot of people say that nationally. I mean, Perdomo was a stud. He was in the MVP voting last year. The guy had 102, 103 RBIs. Corbin Carroll is supposed to be the shit, right? So those guys, we need to unlock something with them. We really do, because you could argue right now that it's been the young guys and the no-names that I mentioned earlier that have been carrying this team. I mean, Vargas in April was a godsend. I mean, the dude was just incredible. I mean, he won, what was it, Player of the Month or something? Ildemaro Vargas, a journeyman, like the definition of a journeyman player that's been cut by this team 5-6 different times. And then it's like we need our stars to be stars, because right now our stars are not being stars. Wasn't that just hell of a breakdown there for you guys? But it's true though. It's like so many times, and it's been as of late, when we had the good starting pitching in the last week and a half, when I've been watching, we're in these close games, like the one against Paul Skeens where we lost 1-0 against the Pirates. Soroka got burned with only one pitch. That was a home run in the first inning. The Pirates got that Lau guy, and that score stood the entire game. Soroka dialed it back in, and it was just an absolute pitcher's duel the entire time. But in that game, for example, we had multiple opportunities where we had runners in scoring position, and who's on deck, who's coming to the plate. It's Ketel Marte, it's Corbin Carroll, and I'm like, perfect. You couldn't have written this up any better. This is in the script right here. This dude's going to show up for his team in a big moment. And that has just not happened. These guys we're not getting that clutch hit that we're used to out of the top three. And I think it starts with them, right? Because we can sit here and talk about the rookie phenom, Jose Fernandez, what he did, what Vargas did in April, but it's like that shit's not sustainable. I mean, baseball's a game of failure. We know that. The best players in the game aren't going to be hitting 1,000. You're going to fail on a day-to-day basis. But we need to look at our guys who are the leaders, who are the all-stars on this team, to keep that going and show up and get those clutch hits, because that just hasn't been happening. And it's weird to see, because you're absolutely right, Chris. When we came into the season, it was like, man, we're going to be leaning heavy on this offense because we're probably going to need to score 6, 7, 8 runs just to win baseball games, because our pitching staff is going to be so shaky and they're going to be giving up a lot of hits and stuff, right? But it's like what I started with. It's been such a weird, strange season that it's hard as we sit right now to put blame on exactly one thing, because it's just been changing so much. Which, Mike, that's why before we started, I'm still optimistic about where we are, because in my delusional mind, I feel like there's some chance that this team can do exactly what I said prior, of trying to dial in every single phase of the game, and maybe we can hit on all cylinders with every phase of the game, and we can be a team that, no one's going to want to play, right? So man, all I can say, it's been a weird season, but right now it really is the offense, because it's just been atrocious. It's been hard to watch too, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, you basically said it a little earlier, Tallman. We're only a quarter of the way through the season, and we probably would have liked to have seen the D-backs putting up better numbers thus far, but it's not too late for them to turn it around. And as pessimistic as I can be, I can still admit that there is a chance for this team to get right, make a push, start stacking games. We have a great opportunity to do so with playing the two teams that are worse than us in the division over like the next 18 games, it seems like, on the calendar. I think 17 of the next 11, or I guess 17 of the next 11. I'm sorry. 7 of the next 11 are with the Rockies, and then 6 of those 14 are with the Giants. But Mike, I'm glad you brought up those numbers there while Tallman was breaking it down for us, because what sticks out to me most is that there's only 4 batters on this roster with at least 50 at bats that are batting better than 230. In addition to that, if I went back to March and told you guys that Ildemaro Vargas and Nolan Arenado would be our 2 best hitters, would you have believed me? And where would you have thought that we'd be in the standings? I guess, Mike, if I had told you that, do you think that you would guess that we'd be about 500, or would you think it would be far worse?
I would have thought that I was taking crazy pills if you would have sprung that one on me. Yeah, I mean, the way that this team has to be successful from the plate, it seems like is manufacturing runs outside of the long ball, because just notoriously outside of 2020 season from Corbin and the way that Cattell has been struggling, the Diamondbacks find themselves exactly where they are, 36 total team home runs, which puts them at 24th in the majors. But they're not manufacturing runs the other way, right? The rally backs or the answer backs. They're struggling, man. They're really struggling. 20th in average. I mean, all those little things that go along with it, pushing guys into scoring position, 26th in stolen bases, 27th in on-base percentage. And it's great to see some of these young guys like Jose Fernandez, over 100 at-bats now, hitting right around 280 with 29 hits. I mean, it's been great to see those young guys step in, or the guys that were unknown, what kind of production you would get from them. But I think you really are sitting at 500 because your 3 heavy hitters, the big 3, if you want to call them, and Jerry, Corbin Carroll, and Cattell are struggling. And it seems like they're so close. It's that 1 step forward, 2 steps back mentality right now for them. And it's putting us behind the 8 ball. And right now we're scratching out these super, super, really close games, low scoring games, obviously 1-0, 2-1, those kind of things. But eventually, man, the chickens come to roost. You know what I'm saying? And if this team isn't going to produce from the plate or find their form in that way, Thank goodness we have an easy schedule coming up right now. But as we start to get those other teams coming in once again, we're going to be on the outside looking in even further than where we are right now. And thank God, Tallman, that it is only May.
Yeah, plenty of time left, and they will be back at it tomorrow, May 13th, 5:05 p.m. first pitch. Ryan Nelson on the mound taking on Kumar Rocker as the D-backs look to win the series in that rubber match. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ryan Nelson sporting a cool 5.68 ERA with a 1-3 record. So hopefully the bats show up for my boy, because we know he can get strikeouts. It's just he might give up some runs too. I know Tallman said that he thinks that if Corbin Burns came back today, that Zach Gallen would be the odd man out, but I don't know. I think it's probably between him and Ryan Nelson, if I had to guess. I mean, we've already seen Brandon Pfaadt get sent to the bullpen. Have we really even seen Brandon Pfaadt have any long relief appearances? I haven't, I guess, been paying close enough attention.
Yeah, he just pitched today. Three innings, no run ball. It's all you can ask for.
There you go.
When you've been demoted, you know.
Yeah. Hey, at least he's not Alek Thomas getting DFA'd off the team. At least he's still got a spot. He's still contributing. I still have hope in Brandon Pfaadt, but obviously he had no business being in the starting rotation. But anyway, that's your Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll continue to keep major tabs on them as we go through the summer, and they're the only show going. But that doesn't mean there isn't anything to talk about with the other action in town in your Arizona Cardinals, who are in the thick of it with their offseason. We just saw the NFL draft shake out a couple weeks ago. And as I mentioned at the top, the rookie minicamp was last week from the 8th to the 10th. So that just wrapped up. And I think if my schedule here, my calendar is correct, voluntary OTAs will be starting in just about a week or the beginning of next week sometime. So the fun never stops in the NFL. They love to be in the headlines year round, but obviously a lot of angles and a lot of question marks with this Cardinals team. You got a new head coach, you got a new rookie quarterback, a new rookie running back, some other exciting pieces that you could potentially get behind. But I guess for the sake of it, and Tallman asked me about this, we can start with the quarterback situation. I expect that we'll have plenty of conversations about this over the next couple months, but let's go back about a week. And although it's behind us now, there were rumors that a veteran quarterback in one Aaron Rodgers had been linked to the Arizona Cardinals as a potential landing spot, which would be have him joining an already very crowded quarterback room when you consider Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, and the rookie, oh my goodness, how did I forget his name? Carson Beck. So I think a lot of fans are thinking it's either Carson Beck or Jacoby Brissett, but we still haven't had any follow-up to the whole Jacoby Brissett demanding to be paid like a starter contract controversy. I haven't heard anything else about that. But I guess, Tallman, let me kick it over to you first. I know you were excited at the prospect of having the old man Rodgers on our team. Are you disappointed that those rumors have kind of been put to rest?
Don't put words in my mouth. I never said excited. What is this? It's crazy. No, dude, I just saw a tweet. Aaron Rodgers was seen at Sky Harbor Airport. I'm just kidding. Oh no. Did he? Okay. So did anything come? All right. So obviously this all ended last week. And because he was scheduled to be in Pittsburgh, right, to sign, did we see anything come up that he actually signed anything? Was there any news coming out? Right?
Nothing yet.
Nothing. So it's, man, don't you just love how mysterious Aaron Rodgers is? Who's he going to play for? Who did he marry? You know, nobody knows. Oh my goodness. But obviously the only reason he was tied to the Cardinals was because of Nathaniel Hackett and some of the spins on it. I mean, I get the reasoning too, because if you have Brissett coming out saying, hey, you're calling me the starting quarterback, you know, y'all need to pay me somewhat like a starting quarterback, where, you know, Nathaniel Hackett's probably like, hey, I know a dude that you could pay 20-25 million that's going to come in here and win you football games. I mean, Mike, come on, who would you take? Would you have rather have Aaron Rodgers start or Jacoby Brissett? Who would you feel like you have a better chance to win?
Oh, I think it would be an easy decision to go with Aaron Rodgers because of the track record. Yeah, he's older. He's in his 40s. But, guys, Jacoby Brissett, all he does is lose as a starter. What are we talking about here?
Exactly. And then, I mean, even if you pulled up Aaron Rodgers' numbers from last season, I mean, he was serviceable. I mean, the Steelers were a playoff team, right? So you can't discount him on that. But I don't know. The other spin on this whole story was, did he just use the Cardinals as leverage to get paid more by the Steelers? You had the one kid, not kid, he's the one, someone from the Rooney family who's a cousin of whoever, I don't know who the acting owner is of the Steelers, but I guess he does like a podcast or something. And he on that podcast said, oh yeah, the Cardinals have been calling because that's why the Steelers put that rarely used restricted free agent tag on them or something that gave them a chance to match any offer that was given to Rodgers. So there was smoke there, right? This actually happened, but will we ever know how close the Cardinals actually were? And would it have just been? It would have just been ridiculous if you brought Aaron Rodgers in and you had, Chris already called it, a crowded room. It's a very crowded room. You don't waste a third pick or a third round pick on Carson Beck and then bring in Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, if Rodgers did come here, you would look at Jacoby being traded, right? Because I'm sure there's teams that would line up to get Jacoby Brissett because he's the best backup quarterback in the league. But that's what it is. We're in a scenario where we're calling a backup quarterback our starting quarterback. So I don't know. So the story was a little interesting because Chris, I mean, Mike and I were talking about it. I asked him the question, if you're going into next season, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers as your starting quarterback week 1 or Jacoby Brissett? And your mentality is you want to win as many games as possible.
I would say Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has that veteran leadership, like you said, took the Steelers to playoffs, but I honestly think it's very, very close. I mean, I think they both offer just about as much at their respective points in their career. But it got to a point where even like the local media guys were talking themselves into it, like, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers for sure. And then Jacoby Brissett would be a good fit on the Steelers. I think they could really use him, forgetting the fact that they also have 3 other quarterbacks on their roster, with last year drafting Will Howard, this year drafting Joe Aller, and I'm pretty sure Mason Rudolph is still under contract, not to mention their pursuit of Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think they would have had any interest in Jacoby Brissett, quite frankly. They probably would have felt just as comfortable rolling Mason Rudolph out there as anyone else. But as far as this team goes, I just don't think it makes sense because the Cardinals aren't a contending team. So why would Aaron Rodgers waste potentially the last year of his career to win 6 football games and at most? And 2, why would the Arizona Cardinals want to pay him to sell some tickets? Maybe you do enough of that when the opposing fans are coming into the stadium. I don't think you need Aaron Rodgers to do that.
Well, I think a lot of people were hoping that maybe Aaron was trying to do one last reclamation project, right? You have great weapons. Let's be honest, guys. The Arizona Cardinals offensive weapons are better than the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive weapons. But just the franchise and organizational structure is so much more sound in Pittsburgh. That's why the Arizona Cardinals find themselves where they are consistently. But I think selfishly as a fan, because we've been losing for so long, because we've been just downright mediocre or bad, I'm like tired of losing. When overall, when you look at it, if this team truly isn't there yet, there's not a benefit to winning. But it's just hard to consistently, it seems like year after year, have to talk yourself into, well, you know what? When September comes around, I'm going to do my darndest to sit down on Sundays and, now that I don't have season tickets, at least maybe make it out to Glendale for one game to watch my team get manhandled consistently once again to a 5-12 record this season. Like, that's hard to do, especially in the middle of the summer when we are still so far away from football. So when all of the news and speculation about Aaron Rodgers came about coming to Arizona, you can't say that you weren't intrigued if you were a Cardinals fan, because you really know where this quarterback situation is. I mean, yeah, you guys are right. Jacoby Brissett is the best backup probably in the NFL. But telling me and telling fan bases that this guy won 1 game last year, lost 11, and is holding out so he can get paid almost $10 million more is just like, it's a slap in the face. Now he's doing the right thing. He's exactly whoever his agent is, or if it was just him finally seeing the writing on the wall, you're doing the right thing. You're taking advantage of the leverage. But at this point, I mean, we need to start having the conversations of what are the true goals for the Arizona Cardinals this year? Does it make sense to pay him more, even though you have the cap space and you're going to have plenty of it, even when you start signing some of these guys on rookie contracts like Michael Wilson, Paris Johnson Jr., these kind of extensions? I know we just, picked up the 5th-year option for Paris, but getting him signed long-term is going to be a process and something that you should do sooner rather than later. Does it make sense to sink more capital into somebody isn't going to be here next year and just roll with Carson Beck and see what you're made of? Because if you're going to lose at this point, I would rather lose with the shiny new toy to see if it's going to work or if it's going to break. Because I already know what losing looks like with Jacoby Brissett. And to be honest with you guys, it was damn near unwatchable last year. So we're in a pickle once again, Tallman. I know you love that pickled relish. Here it comes for you, baby.
Man, he was all over that relish, and he got it all over my floor.
That's not true. It was on my foot. It was not on your floor.
Okay.
It was on my foot. Okay.
All right, fair enough. You got me there. But yeah, it's interesting because then I'm seeing reports here from Josh Weinfuss, and there's reports that the Cards are not falling behind with Jacoby Brissett absent. Mike LaFleur says he's played a lot of football and we're in communication. He knows what the expectation is, and yada yada yada. Essentially, Josh Weinfuss is reporting that the Cardinals made a guarantee to Jacoby Brissett that he will be the starter in 2026. And I think it doesn't make any sense. And it makes sense in as far as that's why Jacoby Brissett is using his leverage to try and get more of a contract. But where it doesn't make sense is because what is the expectation here? The expectation is not that the Cardinals are going to go out there and win 10, 11 games and make the playoffs. I mean, I understand they said that they wanted that, the organization, Monti, Ossenfort, the owner, Michael Bidwill, said that they want this to be a reload, not a rebuild, but it is a rebuild. And when you don't have a franchise quarterback to build around, it is a rebuild. You're not going to sit here and convince me that you're building around 33, soon to be 34-year-old Jacoby Brissett, journeyman backup who won you one game last year. Like, I worry with even bringing in this new regime and Mike LaFleur that we're already starting to get the John Gannon style coach speak and the bullshit answers and the non-answers and the old rub and tug from the higher ups, because it never ceases to amaze me. And maybe this is every sports team across all of professional sports where they just give the fans absolutely fuck all. But I think there are a lot of fans divided right now. And I don't even know if the divide's that wide, but I think with the low expectations, Tallman, what is the harm in rolling out Carson Beck to see what you have and then deciding if you need to draft a quarterback next year?
There is zero harm to it. I mean, we already kind of saw that with God, what was the guy's name? He had 9 mistakes before him. Oh yeah, Josh Rosen, right? And Josh even then. Yeah, Rosen. So you saw Rosen go 10 overall. The next year, we were so shit that we had the number 1 pick, and we picked Kyler Murray. But this isn't even as crazy as that, right? We're talking about an early 3rd round pick, but it's big because 2027. They're all the quarterback prospects in that draft class, right? It's supposed to be crazy, but it's. The whole, I think the wrench here is that Gardner Minshew signing, right? Because it still doesn't really make sense to me. And I mean, I'm totally aligned with what Mike's saying. It's why would you pay the dude? Because he's only under contract. The dude being Jacoby Brissett, he's only on the contract for 1 more year. If you piss him off, he doesn't report. I mean, you can't cave to a dude like that, because honestly, guys, our expectations are not to win 10, 11 games, right? Everybody knows that, right? Everybody in that organization knows that. All the fans know that, right? So I mean, this is the camp I'm going to be in. We talk about Brissett being the best quarterback, right? Or the best backup quarterback. Why don't you just trade the dude? He's creating such a headache for you. You can't give him $10 million. You can't pay Jacoby almost $20 million. It just doesn't make sense based off what we're trying to do next season and Carson Beck. You trade him. You start the season week 1 with Gardner Minshew. Right? You can do that. Gardner Minshew will play Sam Bradford in this scenario. And then once Gardner gets hurt or just does absolute shit, then week 5, 6, 7, you roll Carson Beck out there because he's got to have at least 10, 11, 12 games under his belt to see what you got. You got to give him a chance because, yeah, he was picked in the 3rd round, but it's like we still reached for him. Like that was a reach, in my opinion. And there's question marks about him where the dude's got he's pretty much the opposite prospect to Ty Simpson. The dude's played an insane amount of college football. The kid's played so much football. He's got so much experience where what if you find lightning in a bottle here with this kid in the 3rd round? Then wouldn't that be great come 2027 where you're like, shit, we're going into the draft. Yeah, we only won 5-6 games, but damn, did Beck look pretty good. Maybe we're in a situation where we don't have to rely on picking a quarterback in next year's draft, and we can build those offensive weapons that Mike, you mentioned are incredible, right? Because, I mean, the Jeremiah Love, I mean, we haven't even mentioned that. I haven't had a chance to talk about it, but it's like this offense is going to look a lot different than what we're used to. And I think that starts with not having Jacoby Brissett just be, he's starting every single game. He can't start every single game. Mike LaFleur knows that. Fucking Monti Ossenfort knows that, which is why you can't pay him that extra money because he's not going to be starting every single game because he's not our long-term answer. He's just not. But Carson week 1, I don't know. I think you get Jacoby out of the way. You put Gardner in week 1, ease him into it. Let Beck go through the process of preparation for actual NFL games. See how it's done. And then week 5 or 6, he's ready to go. Throw him to the wolves.
I would say, honestly, you kind of touched on it, Tallman, a little bit. If there was anybody that you could, from this draft class, throw out there week 1, let him struggle a little bit, but then at some point kind of find his footing, it is Carson Beck. Because like you said, not only did he play a lot of college football, he played the best college football out there in the SEC. And then also transformed Miami right after Cam Ward went number 1 the year before to an actual team that was fighting for a national championship. So, but yeah, I mean, the only time you ever see quarterbacks normally start week 1 is when they're drafted in the 1st round. Carson Beck, yeah, he was the first pick of the 3rd round. And you have the other assets at quarterback that you should be starting the season with. So that's why, yeah, this Jacoby thing is just so bad because it's funny, Tom, how you say, that Jacoby Brissett's not going to play all season. Michael Bidwell knows that. Monti Ossenfort knows that. Mike LaFleur definitely knows that. But the only person who doesn't seem to know that is Jacoby Brissett. So I'll be interested to see when this does get finished, which I think it will before the mandatory stuff kicks in, how much of the pay bump will really go into it. Because they got to have just a God's honest truth conversation with him and be like, hey, dude, this was the last year on your contract anyway. You totally sucked. I don't care about your numbers. We know that you're not the future. You're old as hell anyways. This guy is going to have to play. So if we give you $10 million to start the first 5 games, just shut up and be okay with it, or else we can trade your ass. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is how it kind of has to go. Because you did remind me too. I was thinking all about this without knowing or like realizing that Gardner Minshew, you could throw him out there, man. You can let him play 4 to 6 games and then get Carson really established and ready to go, because that will be the sample size I think that you need to know if he is somebody that you can give the keys to and continue to build and put assets into to see if he's your quarterback of the future. But you know, even though we know it's going to be crappy, they still get me. I'm still excited about Jeremiah Love. I think this Chase Basantis guy is going to be a day one starter for us on the offensive line at guard. You know, you're hopeful that MHJ, who I saw at Culinary Dropout, is going to have a breakout year in year 3 because he just has to have it. But man, I am almost at the point where I can almost not forgive the Arizona Cardinals for how they handled this Kyler Murray situation and came into it with absolutely no clue what they were doing.
Yeah, it's a massive fumble, and Mike, you've brought it up several times. The one of the biggest mistakes, because they've made a lot of mistakes, was immediately after trading Kyler coming out and saying Jacoby's going to be our starter for sure, and that empowered him and his agent to go and make this push for more money. And again, I'll double triple down. I don't blame him one bit, but any fan you ask is kind of like, any objective fan is going to say like, yeah, Jacoby Brissett is a backup quarterback and you should not pay him starter money. And if it comes to push comes to shove, we can have Gardner Minshew start. We can just throw Carson Beck into the mix. That's where I think I differ a little bit from you, Tallman, is I don't really see any point in having anyone else start other than Carson Beck. I mean, he's been in 3 national championship games, or at least part of those teams. He's been in college 6 years. He has plenty of experience. You got to see what you have. And whether you give him 11 games to do it or you give him 17 games to do it, I think we want to see more than less. And if this is really the young core you're going to build around, you know, start getting that rapport built up between him and these other guys. You mentioned Jeremiah Love, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Get those reps so you know what you have and you can make a 100% sound decision when the draft rolls around next year, whether Monti Ossenfort is at the helm or not. I mean, I guess as it relates to that, I'm curious what you guys think, and I'm sure this is a conversation we'll have more. But Tallman, let me ask you this: with Monti Ossenfort, a lot of people were surprised that he didn't get thrown out with John Gannon and crew. Much as kind of flown under the radar, Nick Rallis is still a coach on this team as well. But Monti Ossenfort, man, is this his last chance, or is he really going to get to see another 3-year rebuild?
No, it's not his last chance. There's no way in hell. How he survived and got a job refresh with the team, just I don't know. It really doesn't make any sense. And then that brings in the play of, okay, now you have your head coach and GM on different timelines where it comes to, okay, the team sucks. You know, who are we going to blame? Are we going to fire the GM and it's not the coach's fault, or we're going to fire the coach because it's not the GM's fault? So it's, you know, obviously you see that everywhere in the NFL. Everyone's on the same kind of hiring timeline. So I don't want to say Ossenfort is here as long as LaFleur is here, but it sure shit seems like this is not a 1-year thing for Ossenfort. I mean, you can't. You can't be like, hey, you know, and even if we got Ty Simpson, you know what I mean? Like, or even if we had the first pick and we got Mendoza, number 1 overall, it's like, you know, if he wasn't gone already, it just feels like deep in my bones, he's got at least 2 more years, right? So they're going to see what they can pull here. And then I really think his true test is going to be 2027 because, I mean, let's face it. I know you guys want to do season predictions right now. I'm just kidding.
We got to have the schedule isn't even out yet.
It's a joke.
Thursday.
It's a joke. Oh, is it Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. But let's, I mean, I'm not even going to joke about it. Like we're going to be picking probably top 5 in that draft in 2027. So we're going to have a chance to hopefully, you know, lock in that first pick on, you know, a pretty talented, decent quarterback prospect. And I really think that's going to be the test because you can't say, hey, Ossenfort, go win games with the backup quarterback, you know, see what you can do. I mean, it's so obvious that, yeah, it's a, what is it, a retool, not a rebuild, right? But it's so obvious this is a rebuild because, Chris, you nailed it right on the head. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, then you can't win football games. We saw that with the Denver Broncos, right? Russell Wilson goes there. They have an incredible defense. They weren't that good of a team. They get first-round pick on Bo Nix. The kid comes in, and he's been stellar. They're one of the best teams in the NFL now. So there's no way that he's getting fired after this season, even if we only win 2 games. It's just because if he wasn't gone already, it seems like he got I don't know what he did to Bidwell, but it feels like he's around for at least 2 years.
Bidwell just loves him, that bald head of his. No, I will say, before the Mike LaFleur hiring, I was definitely in the other side of the camp. I was like, Monty's got to do everything he can to get the best candidate, everything he can in the draft. You got to do something in free agency to bring in one of the better quarterbacks because he's going to have to win this year. No doubt about it. But everything the Arizona Cardinals have done in this offseason, from the absolute failure that was free agency to giving Gardner Minshew almost $10 million, shows once again that Michael Bidwell has said to him, just bide your time through this year so you can choose your quarterback of the future next year. But we have to appease the fan base by at least bringing in somebody new, because you can't just roll with Keaton Slovis, Gardner Minshew, and Jacoby Brissett, or else everybody would riot and people would not show up on Sundays. Man, guys, we also have to remember the only thing that we were being peddled from Jonathan Gannon is that he was in good standings from Michael Bidwell. Every expectation was that he was going to come back and they were going to figure this thing out and move forward through this rebuild. But there was such hullabaloo about the whole situation. There needed to be a scapegoat. When you lose a franchise record amount of times, there has to be changes. Jonathan Gannon fell on that sword. What's the expectation for this next year? That the Arizona Cardinals are going to suck. So when they suck, we're not going to be as disappointed when they don't fire him, because we're like, well, you know what? That Chase Besantis guy looks like he's promising. Jeremiah Love just rushed for 1,200 yards. Keitrell Clark, sorry. Will Johnson is taking that sophomore step up. There's Monti with the hits. He's going the right way. And that's how he bides his time. And that's how they're moving right now. So he won't have to switch leadership once again within, 4 different guys within a 5-year span. So I am totally in that boat now, Tallman. The way that they maneuvered during this offseason makes it seem like Monti Ossenfort is here to at least pick the next quarterback of the future for the Arizona Cardinals.
And that is a little bit terrifying, but you give him a good spot to land. You got some real good young offensive weapons, and you hope that they can build out that O-line a little bit more, either through future drafts or future free agency. So I don't think all hope is lost necessarily, but I am a bit surprised with, given his track record in his draft picks, that Monti Ossenfort was given another chance. I wouldn't have been opposed to seeing him go, but maybe there's something good that we don't see with the relationship between him and Michael Bidwell. I don't know. Plenty of discussion to be had about the Arizona Cardinals, what we think they should do in their future direction. The schedule is slowly starting to trickle out. But Tallman, we cannot do our season predictions just yet. I know. We make you wait. But if you think about it, we're only about 3 months away from it. So right around the corner. But gentlemen, Mike, do you have some?
Oh, I was going to say, Tallman, you can do your picks, but you got to put them in like a Tallman ticket format. And then when we do our Heat Check podcast where we do the picks, we're going to see if they're the same picks that you did this time around. Because we know you are the no notes king. You're the no notes king.
Yeah, because there'd be no way in hell I'd remember.
Sorry, Chris.
Anyway,
let's keep it rolling.
No, you're good. But yeah, plenty of discussion to be had about the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't want to waste all the topics here on one stream. We're a little over the hour mark, so probably not a whole lot of time left. But before we get out of here, I think we should talk about the NBA playoffs and kind of where we stand. I know we've done a couple past the outlets over the last month, and we've checked in on the playoffs. We did a playoff preview. But some breaking developments since last week's episode. the Thunder swept the Los Angeles Lakers, and they're now 8-0 in the playoffs. They're heading on to the Western Conference Finals. To be determined who they're going to meet up against, whether it will be the Minnesota Timberwolves or the San Antonio Spurs. As of tonight, the Spurs routed the Timberwolves in Game 5 and hold a 3-2 series lead on that one, but not without controversy. And before we talk about the rest of the not so exciting playoffs, Mike, I need your opinion on this story. Real quick rundown for it. It was in Game 4. Victor Wembanyama, I believe it was in the second quarter, delivered a vicious elbow to the throat of Naz Reid. He was ejected for that, and it caused a lot of speculation yesterday, Monday the 11th, on whether Wembanyama would face a suspension. And the reason that has very close ties to the Valley, if you don't remember, I can't believe it has been this long, but 19 years ago, Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw were suspended for a game simply for standing up off the bench, not squaring up, not getting chest to chest, not even running over to the altercation, but standing up and stepping over the line, and they were suspended for a game. Different commissioner in David Stern. We all know Adam Silver is a massive pussy and a complete fucking, I will swear, I will not swear. I'm not going to swear anymore. There are a lot of things I could say about it. And before I get too fired up, because Mike, you know that I hate Adam Silver. What was your reaction to Wembanyama not being served a suspension for this assault to Naz Reid?
Assault was exactly like it. I mean, obviously this one cuts close to home because, of course, that game was against the Spurs, and now we find the new up-and-coming superstar not getting the same fate for something that was way more vicious than just two players stepping on the court. But the biggest thing about it, it was a different era. David Stern wanted everybody to be buttoned up. You know, remember they used to have the dress code. It was a different time. It was a different NBA. The one thing, Chris, that you got to give Adam Silver credit for, even if you don't want to, is he is consistent. If guys have a track record of being bullies or hooligans or whatever you want to call them, aka you could say what happened with Draymond Green plenty of times, they did get suspended. This is technically the first time that Victor Wembanyama has had any kind of situation happen within a game. He has a pretty squeaky clean, just background right now within his time in the NBA. And man, it's crazy to think, what is this, his third season already? The NBA is not going to take their high profile tickets off the court nowadays, because if you do look at it, the numbers have been struggling a little bit from the NBA this season as well. So suspending him for Game 5, would it have been a right choice? I think it would have, but at the same time, I am a fan of consistency. That's the only thing I'm a fan of. I can utter the same comments that you say in regard to Adam Silver sometimes on his other decisions, Chris. Don't get that twisted on that. But yeah, the playoffs is the time where you want the best players on the floor, or else you're not going to get the numbers. And we know at the end of the day, it's still an entertainment business. They're going to make sure that their high-profile guys are out there. And remember, the Phoenix Suns were specifically, Tim Donaghy and that crew purposely rigged that series. So it wouldn't have even mattered if Amari and Boris Diaw would have played. They would have lost anyways. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, I hear you as far as him being consistent on it. And yes, like I said, different commissioners. So I just have a hard time believing that if it were a player other than Victor Wembanyama, that they wouldn't have received a suspension for this. However, it is the playoffs. I don't know. You want to see the best players out there. Draymond Green had a point on his podcast that if you allow this, then it only opens the door for other players to start throwing elbows like that and having more violence out there. So I don't know. And if we go back in the time machine 19 years ago, the whole reason David Stern was so hard on that is because it wasn't too far removed from the Malice in the Palace incident, which was a stain on the NBA for a long time, honestly. And they didn't want things getting out of control. So it's hard to compare things that happened nearly 2 decades apart, but it hurts. It hurts, Mike. I'm going to be sad about it. But
shout out Tommy Nunez Jr. He couldn't contain Rick Carlisle. I'll never forget those pictures, man. He is so much smaller than all those guys.
He's holding himself. He's trying. He's trying. Was Tim Donaghy officiating that game?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look back. The only one I always know is Tommy Nunez Jr.
Yeah, as we know, he's got Valley ties. I think his kids went to the same high school as us.
Yeah,
and,
I went to high school with his sons.
That's right. We went to high school with his daughter. She was the same age as us. She came up to me one day and she was like, "I don't like you, Chris." And I was like, "What the hell did I do?" And she's like, "You said my dad was a bad ref." And I was like, "He probably was. Probably was." I joke. But yeah, I'm a basketball player. I don't like officials. Sue me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the Spurs beating the Timberwolves, I don't think it really matters if the Timberwolves beat the Spurs. The Oklahoma City Thunder are rolling. And so speaking of officials, you can say what you will about them getting the whistle, but they're a deep squad, man. Even having being down a couple guys, they have other players that can fill in. Luckily, the NBA draft lottery rolled over the weekend and we didn't see them get too crazy of a pick, although I still think they have a top 15 pick. Was it they ended up with the 12th pick or something like that? So they're going to get another very talented player or potentially move off of that deal. I mean, whoever their GM is, his name escapes me. What a genius. I mean, the way he's put together that team.
Sam Presti, yeah, he's an absolute magician. It's been ridiculous what he's done. That Paul George trade is going down as the worst trade in NBA history for the Clippers. Except they pulled a fast one on the Indiana Pacers and were able to get their first round pick for the Pacers, tanking all this year. Sweet vindication. I will never, ever forget that. Thank you, Los Angeles.
And the
one and only time I'm ever going to say that.
And the balls of the Pacers, I think it was the Pacers GM or owner came out and said like, "Oh, we thought we were due some luck. I'm sorry." Do some luck. You were in the fucking finals last year, dude. You don't go from finals to first pick in the draft. I'm sorry. Fuck you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, fuck you. I don't care. You didn't deserve it. And Mike, I know we were checking in with you. You were very anti-Pacer this year. And so they got what they deserved. We'll say that. I'm sure there'll be much more conversation to have on Pass the Outlet with that. But Tallman, man, how you been enjoying the NBA playoffs so far? What are your thoughts on the field? You got the Knicks sweeping the Sixers. They're moving on. You got the Thunder looking unstoppable. I mean, we haven't heard from you in about a month, man. What do you thought?
I know, right? Wow, incredible stuff. I've actually been watching a decent amount of it too, which is, I know it's just a big shock to you guys. I did catch the elbow from Wembanyama, which that was malicious. That he totally should have gotten suspended, because it reminded me of, you guys remember when Jokic beat the hell out of Cameron Payne but because Jokic didn't get suspended for that, right? And that was malicious, right? But you guys are right in line with you got to have your big ticket dudes on the court. Man, I think my biggest thing is just the Celtics, dude. The Sixers. I mean, they played half that series without Embiid, and then Embiid comes back. He's like, they put him together with duct tape, and somehow they win that game, that series in 7. And then they stood no chance against the Knicks. But the Knicks have been pretty hot too. I will say I've yet to win a bet on playoff basketball. There's always someone that burns the living shit out of me. But on your OKC mention here, I mean, look at the bracket there. Have the Thunder really even been tested yet? I mean, come on, they had to play the Suns. Obviously, you guys know. But then you get the Lakers without any Luka Doncic. I mean, I don't know, but I'm with you on that. There's a lot of people talking about them doing a complete sweep and not losing an entire game and the entire postseason, which obviously I doubt that's going to happen. But I mean, they're my favorite to win right now. That's for sure. But are you guys big on the Knicks or no?
I think it's definitely going to be the Knicks coming out of the Eastern Conference. The Pistons and the Cavaliers are going to beat each other up here in this series. That one's probably going to go 7, and the Knicks are absolutely rolling. They're the only other team comparable, I would say, that has the depth that the Thunder has. But the Thunder, man, they're so athletic at every position. It's just ridiculous. Even Isaiah Hartenstein is like one of the fleetest footed big men in the game right now. It's crazy to think that how he was able to snag that contract from them. But yeah, I think it's Thunder will get tested, whether it's the Timberwolves or the Spurs, especially if the Timberwolves do make it to the Western Conference Finals, because that'll be their 3rd year in a row. They have the merit. They know what it takes to win some games at least. But the Spurs inexperience, I could see it being a 5-game series if they make it out of here, because I don't know if they're going to be able to counterpunch what Oklahoma City does. And Victor Wembanyama is going to have to have this series of his life if they do make it to the Western Conference Finals. I think there's just too much horsepower in the Thunder's camp right now.
Yeah, if the Knicks have a chance, because I do think it's going to be Knicks Thunder in the final. If they do have a chance, they're going to have to take them to 7 games. I don't think there's any doubt. I do like what the Knicks are doing. I really like Mesa Community College alum Mike Brown, the head coach of the New York Knicks. Fun fact there for you with the local ties. And Mike Brown's one of those guys who's kind of always been the bridesmaid, but never been the bride. He's coached very good teams and kind of had them turn corners. And when the Knicks cut ties with Tom Thibodeau, I think a lot of people were like, man, what are you doing? Like, Thibs is like pretty good recognition. And now you're bringing in Mike Brown. So it's like they thought that they might have been on kind of a downturn, but I like what he's done with that team. Now, trying to check facts here and make sure that I'm fully up to date on this. But Mike, keep me honest here. I think the New York Knicks won the NBA Cup this year, right?
Oh yeah, they did.
So they could be the first team ever to win the NBA Cup and the NBA championship in the same season. And we know how much Adam Silver loves tournaments.
History in the making.
It would be so good. I mean, I'm a little bit joking, a lot of bit joking. I do think that the Knicks and the Thunder would be the most intriguing series, although I do still think the Thunder take it in a 7-game series. And Tallman, you bring up a good point. Lakers did not have a Luka Doncic. They played him close a couple times, and a lot of people think had they had Luka, they might have been able to take a game or two. I don't know. I think I would buy into that. I think that's possible, especially given the fact that the Thunder haven't been at 100% health-wise this postseason. But they're getting so much time off with these 4-game series, man. They're not going to have to play again until the middle of next week sometime. And then you're looking at this Spurs Timberwolves series going at minimum 6 games, could go 7 games, depending on how the Timberwolves come out in game 6 here. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Anything could happen. That's the nature of the beast with the NBA playoffs. But I've been liking it so far. I think that the last thing I'll say about the playoffs as a whole, and then to not let it slide by, is that the Pistons for a 1 seed have been very disappointing. I think they'll still beat the Cavaliers, but very little interest in that series. And the way the Knicks are rolling, it almost seems like it doesn't matter who wins that series. I guess, Mike, I'd be curious to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Pistons, I had touched on this on PTO. They're the Cavaliers of last year. I think they really overachieved this year, obviously with winning 60 games, having the number 1 seed. I mean, they were the number 1 seed in the East, it seemed like, since the second month of the season, but they're still so young. Cade Cunningham is coming back from a freaking collapsed lung, guys. I mean, and he's the guy who stirs the pot for them. Jalen Duren is young too. I mean, of course, you got veterans like Tobias Harris, but I'm interested to see how that series comes out, but I am so against either of those teams being in the finals. It will be kind of comparable to the Pacers being in the finals last year. I don't really like Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a ball hog. Shout out the ASU ties, but James Harden is just he's been around for too long. I don't care about him. He is who he is. We know that he folds in game sevens over the history of his career. Do I like Jared Allen? Do I like Evan Mobley? No, I don't really have any ties to Cleveland. I would rather see the New York Knicks make it to the playoffs, because when those high markets are consistently winning and going further into the NBA playoffs, the NBA succeeds, and I want the league to continue to succeed. And it'll be another opportunity for a couple of our guys to get a possible championship. Of course, we know Mikhail, but guys, how could we forget that Landry Shamet could possibly become an NBA champion? I mean, isn't that what matters the most? Chris, I will say, I know you kind of were teetering, sounded like on, have you been completely enjoying the NBA playoffs? I mean, I'll say that I've been enjoying them, and I know there was somebody else that was enjoying it last night. That was our own Dillon Brooks, laughing at the hands of LeBron James getting swept. Let me ask you this question first, Chris. Is this kind of vindication for the Phoenix Suns, the way that the Los Angeles Lakers kind of took the belt from OKC as well? Do you feel like, not that you're impressed with what the Suns did, but at least it makes sense that it was going to be a hard sell to get any wins against this team, because they are just way too good?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I mean, I think we kind of knew that the Suns didn't have a chance. And even from the onset, our challenge was go win one game, and they didn't even come close. But the Lakers kind of didn't really either. I know they only lost this last game 4 by 5 points, I think, but Thunder still got it done at the end of the day. But I think it is a little vindicating, just in the fact that the Thunder are who we thought they were. They're a great team, and the Lakers fans complained about the whistle just as much as the Suns fans complained about the whistle, just as much as the Spurs fans are probably going to complain about the whistle. It's just the way it goes. It's kind of like, reminds me of, I think it was the 2024 playoffs when the Nuggets rolled us. I could be getting the years wrong, but they beat us in a hard-fought series and then went on to win the championship. So the question was, well, do you feel better that you were at least eliminated by the team that went on to win it? And then I didn't really feel better about that. I think that's just something losers tell themselves to make themselves feel better, is like, hey, we lost to the better team. The team that we lost to won. It's like, I can talk myself into finding solace in that, but deep down, I really don't. I don't know, Tallman, what do you think?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was reading something.
How do you spell onomatopoeia?
Shit, let me Google it real quick.
No. Do you feel better about the Suns losing their series in 4 because the Lakers also lost in 4 to the same team?
No, not at all. The Lakers at least got out of the first round. I mean, they already did us a favor and sent Kevin Durant home early, which that was another highlight of the playoffs so far. No, I don't. I mean, I think we're on it's hard to compare the two teams because we're on much different timelines. But your comment about, does it make you feel better if who you lose to goes on to win the finals? I don't think that really applies here, because you already mentioned it. The Suns were not close, remotely close, or competitive in that series. I mean, it couldn't have been more clear that the Suns are not a playoff team. They're not ready to contend. And that was shown very clearly to us when we played the best team in the league. But I don't know. It doesn't, I don't think so. I mean, the Lakers, that side of it though, did LeBron play his last game? I don't know. Are you guys LeBron fans? I can't remember.
Not while he's on the Lakers.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I agree with Mike, but LeBron is my GOAT.
LeBron is your GOAT. Okay. Well, it's easy for us to say that because of our, that's our generation, right? We grew up with that. I mean, we never got to watch Michael Jordan play, right? But no, I don't think it makes it. I mean, it's nice to watch them lose, right? Obviously, that's why Dillon Brooks was there, to see that sweep. But I don't know. I just don't think that there's any good thing to take away from it for the Suns.
No, and again, like I said, like we can try and talk ourselves into feeling better, but it doesn't matter at this point. I think we have to keep when we think about the Suns and tying it into what's happening now, we have to keep the perspective of the Suns overachieved this year, and that's what we hang our hat on. We don't hang our hat on them sweeping the Lakers. We hang our hat on we made the playoffs, and that was already overachieving. So good question though, Mike. Very good question. I do have to ask you, I hate to keep, volleying these questions back and forth. I know we're about to wrap up, but that picture of Dillon Brooks, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Did you feel like it was cool or corny? Because I'm leaning corny.
I didn't think it was cool. I thought it was funny. I mean, when they showed him on the broadcast and he's literally sitting underneath the basket, you know that he completely did it on purpose. It wasn't like he just went to go sit courtside to watch a good matchup. He was there to be the villain and laugh as the Joker in LeBron's face and the Lakers' face as they get swept by the hands of the team that just did it to them. There's a method to his madness, right? That's why I can appreciate it to a certain extent. Yes, Chris, some of the stuff he does is corny, but my guy, it's time to embrace him. He's part of this culture now. So you either need to get on board or you need to figure something out in your own psyche, because I'm telling you, he ain't going nowhere. The Phoenix Suns aren't making big sweeping changes. They're not trading for Giannis. They're not trading for Zion Williamson. And they sure ain't giving up him as a piece to get one of those big time players if it does happen. He is part of the culture of what the Phoenix Suns are building. So get on board, buddy, because it might be corny, but it's funny and it's kind of fun. And you should see it too. Have some fun with us, Chris. Come on.
I won't get on board yet, but maybe I'll have to eventually. I'm just surprised Dillon Brooks didn't get a technical, to be honest. I think I thought the refs would have beat him.
A preemptive technical for the 26-27 season.
And put SGA on the line. I mean, it only makes sense.
That'd be great. First in history.
Right. But no, I mean, Mike, you're not wrong. I honestly don't think that there's any path for Dillon Brooks to be traded or off this team. I think that'd be the only route. You're not going to cut him or anything like that. So he's our guy. We gotta love our guy. Love our guy, Dillon. Dillon the villain, man. But yeah, boys, this was a good episode. Of course, we're heading into the dog days of summer. We're in the beginning of the summer, the beginning of the dog days, if you will, where it's going to be very Diamondbacks heavy, but there will still be plenty to talk about with your Arizona Cardinals and Phoenix Suns. But I had a blast here, guys. As always, I'll give you each the floor one last time to share your last thoughts. We'll kick it over to VSP Tallman first if he's not in the middle of reading an article or something.
Yeah, my bad. I was reading the Dillon Brooks article because I didn't see that actually when it happened. So, yeah, no, I am fully engaged, Chris. I swear, I promise. I got a text from SRP. They're going to turn my power off in 30 seconds, so I'll make it quick. We got a big golf tournament this week. You guys know what this week is? It's the PGA Championship.
The
Championship, right? One of our 4 major golf tournaments of the year. You guys going to be watching?
The LIV guys get to play in that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do.
I'll absolutely be watching.
Well, it's also the Preakness Stakes on Saturday.
You know.
I'm with Mike. I could give a shit less about horse racing.
Chris has his priorities in order.
I see. I get it. I do understand. Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to remind you guys that you need to watch golf. You need to watch golf this weekend.
Thank you. Will do.
Chris, you got a pony that you're putting some dough on yet for the Preakness?
I don't know, man. I mean, you want to go and you want to root for a horse to get that Triple Crown opportunity. But I don't think that's going to happen. I know Golden Tempo won the Kentucky Derby, but I think kind of similar to last year, they're not even going to race in the Preakness. The field's wide open. So to answer your question, I don't really have my eye on any one horse. I'm just going to enjoy the festivities. I'm going to place a wager and I'll decide day of who I'm putting my dollar on.
Smart man. You'll enjoy it. Well, I'll take my time to say goodbye to y'all. Yeah, dog days are here. Chris Tallman, you start doing your Phoenix Mercury research, because I think they might be good again this year. They just put belt to ass to the former champion Las Vegas Aces to start the season. Got some familiar faces: Alyssa Thomas, Kalea Cooper. It's gonna be a good squad. But I feel like I do really have to say this, because he was one of our own. We have to say rest in peace to Brandon Clark, the Memphis Grizzlies forward, former Arizona kid, grew up here in Arizona, even though he was born, I think, in Canada, right? He always talked about how he always wanted to play for the Canadian national team up with his buddy Dillon Brooks, who he spent a good amount of time with. Dillon had a nice post for him as well. But he went to Desert Vista, man. Those are the humanizing things about sports. So I just wanted to make sure he was one of our own. So rest in peace, Brandon Clark. Sorry to end on a somber note, but I thought it was important. Hug your loved ones, people. And I love you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Yes. No, good call out, Mike. That is very sad. Although any longtime listener knows we went to Corona del Sol, so Desert Vista was considered a rival high school. But I think that's what makes it hit even all the more close to home, because even though, your rivals on the court or the field or whatever, those are still people in your community. And knowing that he was one of the Phoenicians, even a transplant from Canada, it's 29 years old is far too young. So yes, if you're ever feeling down, reach out for help. We love you. You got people that love you. So yeah, good call out, Mike. Not really sure how to wrap it up from there, other than to say thank you all for tuning in. If you made it this far, watching live or on the playback, you're a real one. We appreciate you being here. While you're here, make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. Like this video and follow us at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, so much more. All those links will be down in the description below. We go live every Tuesday around 7 p.m. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get that notification straight to your phone when we are going live and when new content is posted. But for VSP Tallman and Mr. Benjamin, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Things up here, and for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there, thanks for being with us tonight, and from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.